4 words ended it. If this spares them, I'll vanish. That is what Prince Harry reportedly said as he initialed the final page of a custody agreement that closed one chapter of royal history and detonated another. The battle was over. The signatures were dry. The palace called it final, but within hours something far more explosive surfaced. Harry began talking, not to cameras, not to memoir publishers, but to legal intermediaries and investigators. And what he revealed about Meghan Markle and the quiet involvement of Prince Andrew has shifted the centre of gravity inside the monarchy. This was never just a divorce, it was a containment operation. When Prince William stood at Buckingham Palace and declared the settlement final, flanked by Princess Anne and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, the language was deliberate. Protection, duty, future. Those are institutional words. They are used when something larger than reputation is at stake. Because inside the 94-page settlement was more than custody terms. There were media restrictions, intellectual property controls, narrative containment clauses, provisions that do not appear in ordinary family court agreements. Ask yourself this. Why would an ancient institution reactivate emergency guardianship mechanisms unless it believed the identity of the children themselves was under strategic pressure? That is the scale of what unfolded behind closed doors. At the emotional centre of this crisis were 2 children whose names became leverage in a modern media machine. One clause reportedly forbade the commercial use of their likeness, voice or digital renderings without clearance. That clause became the breaking point. And here is the uncomfortable question. When does branding become exploitation? Harry's private disclosures suggest he began to feel something was off long before the custody battle climaxed. And he described a life where he appeared in every frame, yet controlled none of the edits. Interviews filtered, memoir passages shaped, public grievances timed and licensed. One line from a palace insider captures the shift. He was present in the story, but not the author of it. If that is true, then what was this marriage built on? Midway through legal proceedings, another layer surfaced. Communications, quiet back-channel advice. Or strategic guidance allegedly linked to Andrew's associates, advice centred on limiting the Crown's ability to reclaim Harry's narrative authority. Andrew, already sidelined, reportedly saw opportunity in alignment, rehabilitation by proximity. If Meghan's media apparatus reframed him sympathetically, the theory went reputational doors might reopen. Consider the implications. If accurate, this was not emotional fallout. It was coordinated positioning. And here is the twist that reframes everything. Harry did not challenge the custody structure at the final stage. He cooperated fully. The man, once willing to wage public war, chose silence inside a courtroom. Why? Because the argument was no longer about pride. It was about insulation, about preventing further narrative monetisation involving his children. Who looks strong in this moment? William, controlled, institutional, unwavering. Anne, surgical, relentless, unblinking. Oh, Catherine, silent but symbolically precise in public appearances that projected stability without commentary. Who looks strategic? Meghan, always thinking 3 moves ahead in brand architecture, intellectual property leverage and narrative positioning. Who looks sidelined? Andrew, diminished, reactive and now potentially exposed by association. And Harry, complicated, stripped of narrative control, yet reclaiming something through sacrifice. Public opinion hardened quickly, and polling within 48 hours showed strong domestic support for structural separation between the Sussex household and formal royal operations. That matters. The monarchy survives on perception as much as law. Here is the institutional question you cannot ignore. If a prince signs away narrative rights in love, does the Crown have the obligation to reverse the damage when children become collateral? Behind palace walls, the answer appears to have been yes. And the settlement reportedly froze future interviews referencing the children, shelved unreleased media projects, locked biometric records into secure archives to prevent AI or commercial replication, reclassified prior subsidies and security expenditures. These are not emotional gestures. They are structural firewall measures. Then came the final escalation. Harry's team attempted to challenge the intellectual property clause that gave Meghan narrative dominance over their shared history. The court's response was blunt. He signed, repeatedly, benefited, agreed, no escape. That is when the private admissions began. He had not understood the long-term scope. He signed while grieving. He believed unity required surrender. He did not anticipate a future where his own voice required licensing. And here is the power question. Is consent valid when emotional vulnerability clouds strategic awareness? The palace did not publicly weigh in. It did not need to. Its actions spoke, and Andrew's remaining access narrowed. Internal reviews intensified. Communications channels were cut. Quietly, decisively, now we stand at a crossroads. If Harry fully disengages and rebuilds privately, the monarchy stabilises and the saga becomes a cautionary tale about modern celebrity colliding with ancient institution. If further disclosures emerge, documented coordination, financial entanglements, a deeper Andrew involvement, then the crisis evolves from family rupture into constitutional scandal. Both paths are dramatic, both reshape legacy, but the defining image is still that reported moment at the signing table, a father choosing disappearance over escalation, not because he won, not because he lost, because he calculated the cost. The monarchy has drawn a line around the children. That line is now written in enforceable legal text and backed by centuries of precedent and modern copyright law. Meghan's brand faces contraction. Andrew's shadow lengthens. William's authority solidifies. Catherine's symbolic capital rises. Anne's reputation for steel becomes legend. And Harry stands in between, neither fully inside nor fully outside, having exposed what he claims happened behind closed doors, but unable to fully reverse what was signed in ink years ago. This story is not finished. Legal threads remain active. Internal reviews continue. Narrative control is still contested territory. What just ended was the custody battle. What just began is the struggle over history itself, and the institution that has survived abdications, scandals and wars has made one thing unmistakably clear. When the future of its heirs is at stake, it does not hesitate. The next development will not be loud. It will be procedural, and it will matter.